in life, you have people, you have issues, you have problems, you have situations. And the question is, how much attention do you give to it? I don't have a problem with hard conversations. I don't have a problem making sure hard conversations are had, but it doesn't feed me. It does bleed me. It does take my energy away. By no means does it recharge my batteries at all. And the simple fact is, everything in life either feeds you or bleeds you. And you really should choose wisely where you direct your attention. What you got?
What is one piece of like pivotal advice that you would give to someone else? Like, what's something that actually made a difference in your life that you like apply to hard weeks like this, where you're just like ready to just end it all?
One piece of advice.
I mean, this is your podcast. It can be two.
And we are back with another episode of The Julius Files. I am your host, Jasan Julius, and today we are doing an episode of Q&JP, The Julius Perspective, and I have my co-host here with me, the Galactic Demigoddess and Master Blaster and...
Tori.
Yeah, and Tori.
We'll work on a title for you.
Yeah, that's what we keep saying.
Wow.
We've been doing that for a while now.
And Tori.
If any viewers have any suggestions, we're open.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I want to start in with my lead-in open because I mean there has been a lot of going on here lately, and I mean I literally just straight up asked my business coach about it. So in life, you have people, you have issues, you have problems, you have situations, and the question is, how much attention do you give to it? And the simple fact is, everything in life either feeds you or bleeds you, and you really should choose wisely where you direct your attention. And I would say, as a realist, I would subscribe to the 80-20 rule and definitely shoot for the 90-10. You're never going to get away 100% of dealing with people and issues and subjects that actually bleed you, but you should definitely limit the things that bleed you and concentrate on the things that feed you, and you will just simply live a higher quality of life, and quality of life is more important than life itself. So with that, we will get on to the actual the question side of this, where we can actually get to my perspective. How are my co-hosts doing today?
I think we're okay.
Everything is fine.
Everything's
fine.
What is it? It's fine. Everything, or it's fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine.
And everything's on fucking fire.
Yeah, everything's what?
On fire.
And everything's on fire. And Matt even pulled one today, dumpster fire. And I'm in like, what is the definition of fine? Insecure, narcissistic, and emotional. And
Check.
yes, everything is just fine right now. But yes, okay. So let's actually.
This table's doing fine.
No, that's. I mean, we're
actually.
Yes,
Like,
we are actually doing fine. It's
I'll take high
yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It is. It has been a rather colorful, adventurous week. There have been a couple small wins, but there have been a lot of potential dumpster fires this week, and that is life, and it is all about your perspective and the lessons that you're willing to learn, and just simply moving forward one step in front of the other and take it as it comes. And I am grateful for the team that I have, or at least most of the team that I have, and the ones that are creating the dumpster fires. I have not so much appreciation for them because they're bleeding me right now, but it is very much a in that 90-10. But man, if that 10 has been burning hot, and some squeaky wheels going on this week. So let's jump right in. I will. I get shit going back and forth, but we will lead with Matt today.
It is my turn to.
It's Matt's turn today. What question do you have that I can contribute a solid perspective for?
Well, we're gonna go right for it. So, how much do you think I'm bleeding compared to feeding? Like, how much? What is your perspective on the bleed that I'm having to deal with right now?
That you're having to deal. Oh, I thought you were talking about like my perspective of what you are to me.
No, from your perspective, how much
if we're just
my
looking
feed ratio
well, no.
bullshit
And
I'm having to
that's
deal with
not
right
fair
now.
because the thing is that this dude has like he takes a certain pride and passion in like he really gets into security cameras. I mean, he's got a side business installing security cameras, but I came to find out a long time ago, like if I give this dude a project, he will find it. Like, it does not matter. If I can give him a time, I don't even have to give him a timestamp. It just means I'm going to pay him a ridiculous amount to find it. But if I can give him a timestamp, he's going to find it in a relatively short amount of time. So coming back to your question, I don't think that the things that you have been dealing with this last week are totally bleeding you, because it has caused you to have to spend plenty of time on the video cameras, sorting out everybody else's bullshit and finding out who's lying and who's not. And I know that you take great joy and pride in getting those video cameras and being able to sort out
the
those
truth.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is, I don't think that those things bleed you. I think that you take pride and passion in it. So in a certain way, it does feed you. And whether it feeds your ego to be able to come back to the table to say, ladies and gentlemen, I have the actual truth. And so it's not a bleeding you situation.
Spin.
I mean, I
have more better things to be doing.
No. Hey, trust me, for what I'm paying you. Yes, you definitely have. I have other things that I would much rather be focusing your attention. This week has consumed many, many man hours in investigation to figure out
minute by minute.
Yeah.
By minute.
Well, I mean, yeah, in a certain perspective. But yes, I would say that probably 50-50 this week, because like I said, we have had some small wins. That's probably accurate. Yeah, because I think that it feeds you when you're able to actually train and guide and bring people along and be in situations where you're able to make a drastic improvement. I go back to that where I know ideally you strive for excellence, and anybody that is a perfectionist don't get anywhere near entrepreneurship, because if you strive for perfection, one, it will drive you nuts. Two, you won't accomplish anything because it really does get in the way of actual progress. But at the end of the day, you look for that drastic improvement. And I think that about 50% of your time, your efforts have been contributed and focused on making drastic improvements. It's just that I would much rather see that be an 80 or 90%.
Well, I mean, I would argue that even the mindless work of watching the security camera footage was making an improvement.
Well, I mean, it's definitely getting to the heart of it, where I can find out who and where I need to be directing my attention and subtle aggressions.
Which
subtle. Okay.
That's cute.
Because that's
but to improve things.
Well, because I want to be clear, that's the point. I don't, like, it bleeds me. I don't have a problem with hard conversations. I don't have a problem making sure hard conversations are had, but it doesn't feed me. It does bleed me. It does take my energy away. By no means does it recharge my batteries at all. I just don't run from it, because you can't run from it in entrepreneurship. I mean, it is your job to make sure that those hard conversations are had, that things are not swept under the rug, because all you're doing is delaying and increasing the odds of a dumpster fire at a future date by not addressing issues and making sure hard conversations through feedback and accountability are actually had in the moment. Because while it's fresh and in the moment, it leaves less room for color to be injected and embellished the further you get away from it to suit your own narrative. When you can get to the heart of the problem in the moment, it's a lot easier to talk about the factual information. And then we get to the other side of it, where I'm like, the words you choose, your tonality, your demeanor, whatever you choose it to be, it's going to elicit a reaction. And you need to own your shit, that when you get a bad reaction from somebody, own through your words, tonality, and demeanor, that's exactly what you were shooting for. And you might not be getting what you want, but you're going to get what you're asking for. And you at least need to own that. And we've had to sort out a lot of those things not just in one of the companies, but in a couple of them this week. It's been one of those where I've.
What is our retrograde status?
Mercury is definitely not in retrograde, so
But we just had the new moon.
true story. But that's really supposed to, with the new moon, that kind of puts you in. It's not necessarily like cutting ties. This is supposed to like bring everything together and kind of start fresh and open up this chapter. But I feel like at this point,
Well, this is going to bring some of us together.
No, because that's the
It
thing
is
is that
bringing
we
us
had
together.
we had that meeting on Tuesday where I felt like I was able. Everybody was prepared to receive that feedback, and I did feel like in a lot of ways that it was bringing the management group together. Unfortunately, we've also had some other issues this week that have created some problems. But that's the thing. That's the thing
That's
about
business.
that's business. That's life. That is about lessons learned and growth. I mean, you're going to go through life and you're going to have to make decisions, and sometimes it's suffering the consequences. Sometimes it's reaping the reward of decisions that you made. But one way or another, there's a lesson to be learned in all of it. And as long as you do, like I said, I mean, change your perspective, change your life. As long as you have a healthy perspective about what you're going through, you're either going to learn something from it or you're going to experience a small win. And either one of them is information for you to take another step forward the next day. And so, yes, this week has been a challenging week. I mean, there's been a couple times that I wanted to kind of put up on my Facebook story. I mean, if you're going to be real, to be like, man, don't me right now. It was that there have been a couple moments that have really tested my ability to stay calm. And but I'll take that as a small win because I don't really think we had some hard conversations this week, and I made sure that I was putting my feelings out there about what was acceptable, what wasn't acceptable. But I didn't flip out or lose my shit.
I think pretty much everybody stayed pretty calm this week.
It's
like one conversation.
Yeah, exactly. It's but yeah, we'll
That's a win.
Well,
take
that's
that.
what I say. We'll leave that right there and we'll move on from that because. But not every day is a win. You do have to be a certain amount of even if you're an optimist, you still got to be a realist. It doesn't.
I think we accepted not every day is a win.
Yeah, no, that's this week has been a sure sign of that. But on the other end of it, I got my roof done on the building, and then it rained the next day, and I have not seen.
What else got accomplished this week?
I have almost all of a floor.
That was not what I was talking
No,
about.
that's what I was going to say
because
that's not a completed project. That's not a closing of the loop.
I know, but I'm really excited.
This is the first podcast with all the new lighting.
Yeah, and you know what? Because it's not blinding me, and that was that was the from the previous was that
I can see
we
your
had
face in
decent
the
lighting
camera.
in there, but it was just the way that it was set up. It wasn't complete, and it was very much straining of my eyes. So slowly but surely, because I mean, this space still has a little bit more that we got to get the TVs
touch-up.
mounted and here and there, and as we're man, I'm telling you, word of advice: do not put two TVs anywhere near each other if they are the same brand, because the remote tries to talk to them at the same time, but yet in different steps. It just doesn't. It's
This is why I'm the CTO and he is not.
okay. Moving on, Miss Tori, do you have a good question for me? Something that I can give a solid perspective that.
I feel obligated to say yes, as we are in a podcast where I'm supposed to ask you questions. So.
Well, but then the public's going to judge. I mean, did you really? Because if Rebecca was
gotta
here,
pass
Rebecca
the vibe
always gives
check.
me softball questions.
Gotta
I mean,
pass the vibe check.
yeah. What's that?
You gotta pass the vibe check.
Okay.
The TikTok vibe check.
The TikTok vibe check.
Otherwise, I will never be King Matt. I'll just be
That's how
Tori with no
what
title.
made King Matt King Matt.
Oh my lord! And I don't even know where King Matt came. Did somebody call you King Matt?
Yes,
A
and then
lot of people called him King Matt.
millions of people called me King
No,
Matt.
millions of
As he
people did
is.
not
And I
call
use
you
that
King.
hashtag.
I'm not
It might
taking
have-
away
it might-
that.
okay,
Every
it might have
time I
been
was
a couple 100,000. I don't know.
Now what the? Like, you know, it was viewed like 20 million times, but you did not have not even a couple 100,000 calling you King Matt. I mean,
but King Matt went trending.
Yeah, the hashtag.
that did the hat. I mean,
There's
I'm
a
gonna
hashtag that I do use because it has been trending for him.
really
Well, I don't know why you deny my.
learn.
my
I'm
TikTok
not. I
thing.
am not
My
denying your
TikTok,
greatness,
I'm
even
still
though
here.
his
He
greatness
hides me
does
from
fail
you,
from
and I'm
time to
sorry.
time. That's yeah.
And Elon will still go to space.
There's greatness there, but it does fail from time to time. I mean, we got to keep it. We can't have his head swelling
Stay
too
humble.
big. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
We're all human.
Okay, what you got?
What is one piece of like pivotal advice that you would give to someone else? Like, what's something that actually made a difference in your life that you like apply to hard weeks like this, where you're just like ready to just end it all?
One piece of advice.
I mean, this is your podcast. It can be two.
The problem that I see as I have gained some wisdom and I mean, obviously through age, and I don't really think that I was that bad about it, like myself in
That's what
general.
everyone says.
Everybody at in your younger years, you think everything that is happening to you in the moment is a 5-alarm fire, and that it is life-changing, life-altering, and either it's going to set up your world for the rest of your life or it's going to end your world in the moment. And the simple fact is, it's just not true. And most of the time, 99.9% of the time, what is happening in the moment is only good in that moment, and it should only be reacted to in that moment. Because, I mean, it's just so many people, so many of the great business people, like filing bankruptcy 3 times before they went on to amass millions, if not billions of dollars. Okay, well, you file bankruptcy and you think your life is over. No, it's not. I've been there. And that does it kind of cause a reset? Does it kind of slow your roll a little bit? Yeah, but the reality is it's not the end of the world. It's just
Couple years of rebuilding.
Yeah, you just had a bad day. And I guess that would be that right there, is that in the younger years, you think a bad day is the end of the world, and it's just so not true. So take everything in stride and find that perspective that before you go to sleep when you had a bad day, it's the ability to learn and grow and wake up the next day and apply it, because the likelihood that your bad day is even going to have an effect on the next day is pretty slim. So take all inputs in your life in stride. Now, that is not to say that you had a bad day because you made a bad decision, so get up the next day and make another bad decision. That's not. But the point is,
so everybody heard that.
Yeah, that sometimes you're going to make bad decisions, and it's going to affect you in the moment. But it doesn't have to be life altering, and that's where I said, good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people. And the first thing everybody needs to realize is, life isn't fucking fair, and that's not a reason to not live it. You get up every day and you take what you learned the previous day and you apply it to the next. And we are all internally wired for survival. That is first instinct in your brain. So when you wake up, hey, you survived sleeping overnight and you learned something yesterday. So pull it forward and apply it. And try and take a positive step in the new day, and on towards that end of it. That's, I mean, because I had to say that today. Like, if people knew what my morning routine was, like, or my routine in general, like I'm a boring person, but my routine serves me well, and it keeps me out of trouble. I don't know what I mean. People, the thing is I am naturally an introvert. So my alone time is what recharges my batteries. When I go out and I get into groups, large groups or crowds of people, like, it majorly drains my batteries. So I don't have any, like, I'm not fighting to make a bad decision. I don't have a desire to go out into bars and make stupid ass decisions. Some people do, because you're extroverted and you feel the need to throw yourself into crowds of people, and then you become peer pressure influenced into doing stupid shit. But then I also go back to Stephanie and what her dad said, be smart about being stupid. I mean, sometimes in life you're going to do stupid shit, but just don't parlay that into bad decisions. Going out and getting drunk and or tying one on and blowing off some steam isn't bad, but don't get in a car and think that you can drive. Be smart about being stupid. So, okay. I don't know. It's
I mean, I feel like it ended up being two anyway, because we got to be smart about being stupid. Don't get fucked up being cute.
Facts.
And what was the other one in there?
it's not the end of the world, whatever it is.
Moving on.
Just
I was
a
just
bad
trying
day,
to
not a
say
bad
like
life.
something other than moving on. Bad day, not a bad life.
Well, no,
I'm surprised you didn't use Rebecca's "This too shall pass."
Well, and honestly, that is this too shall pass, because I just see something like teenagers. Anything that happens, I mean, they automatically revert back to throw themselves on the ground and act like a 2-year-old because the world is ending. And I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, that quick.
The sun's still coming up tomorrow.
Exactly. That's okay. Trish,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't want to say give me something good, but I mean, you can pull
Here
some
goes.
shit. Yeah, exactly.
In
Hold on.
situations where you have close relationships with people and you have to handle them accordingly, how do you separate yourself from business and friendship?
Well, one, I'm going to say you have to manage your relationships because any relationship, it does not matter whether it is business or personal, like it's a relationship and you have to manage it. Two, I'm going to say men do a better job of this than women. Why? Because men can compartmentalize better than women.
I'm a man, apparently.
Yeah, I was like,
Well, no, hey, I'm not going to deny because some of the
I'm not getting in this one.
some of the best women, as far as that I feel like an akin, like I just love them to death, is that I look at them and I'm like, this chick's got a male brain, and I mean, and that's okay. So the point is, we all lead with emotion. We all, whether you realize it or not, everybody, the first thing is to feel. You have a feeling, you have an emotion. I think that men, just generally speaking, and I'm not trying to offend any ladies, but men do a better job of moving that to logic. I mean, women stay all up in their feelings, and generally, if I see a guy that's staying all up in his feelings, well, I'm going to tell him he's soft or weak. You're not being a man. I mean, like, you're a grown-ass man. Quit being a bitch. Well, men are used to hearing that, as it should, because I will say, you want to get deep into that?
As it should.
Like, too many, because I think that's part of the problem with what's going on in our society. Like, I don't understand why men are listening to women on how to be a man. Like, why don't you search out other men that are like legitimately acting the part of being a grown-ass man and find out what it takes to actually be a man. Too much of this toxic masculinity, that shit came from women. And if you're going to be a man, don't be talking to women about how to be a man. I mean, it's just... But the point, getting back to your...
off the rails.
is that relationships of all kinds have to be managed. And I've said before, like, some of the best relationships that I have ever created have been in a workplace. And when you spend 1/3 of your life at work, and maybe it's not a full 1/3. I mean, it's a 1/3 for me because I've been 7 days a week for
3/4 for me.
most of my life. But the point is, if you meet somebody at work and there's something in common, you're going to start developing a relationship. Okay, that's a friendship. You have a work relationship, that's where you met. But if you have something in common, you start getting to know each other. Now you're developing a personal relationship. And part of managing that type of relationship is to always be having the clarification. And Matt and I had this conversation very early on as we were developing our friendship, because I was very much transparent, and I told him, let's not get this twisted. This business means more to me than anything else. We can be friends, but if you start fucking up at work, it's going to fuck our friendship up, because this business means more to me. So when you've got two people that are at work and they develop a friendship, well, there should be some type of transparency that they can be like, at work, we're work people. We have to work. We have to do a job. And when we're friends, we can go out and cut up, but that's not in work. And that is managing the relationship itself. And again, maybe to some people, that's a hard conversation. That's not a hard conversation for me, because I believe in that transparency.
I think that was honestly one of the best conversations we ever had. And it was pretty damn early on.
And it was because I've had other people, and that's where they say that you get two different opposing parties when it comes to business. some business people will swear by employing family. Other people, myself included, will swear against employing family. Why? Because I've been there, and that's my whole thing, where when it comes to the culture of the business, my definition of family is always to lead with, I won't tolerate shit out of you that I wouldn't tolerate out of somebody else. That's the kind of family that I want, that there is a respect there, that there is a line in the sand to say, just because we're family, don't think that I'm just going to tolerate out of you. We're family. You're supposed to let it slide. You're supposed to look past it. You're supposed to cover for me. No, the hell I'm not, because then I lose respect because I'm showing favoritism. And I've never had a problem being overly transparent about that. And then we get into because I've had this with family. As soon as you are not willing to slide it under the rug because you're family, it's only a matter of time before you're going to be asked to slide it under the rug again. So a line in the sand. I'm not sliding shit under the rug for anybody, family included. And that's the kind of culture that I want, because I want that accountability. I want that feedback. But that's a hard conversation for some people. I will say that those some people are probably weaker individuals, which makes it really sad when it does happen to be a man, because I would like to see more stronger men in America. I can't speak for the rest of the world. I mean, my little trip outside of America really wasn't out of America. It was just across the waterway.
That wasn't an accurate representation of leaving the country.
No. And hey, I'm owning it. I'm being honest about it. Again, interest of transparency.
Just making sure everybody's well aware.
No, but
He went to a luxury private island, people.
On a boat.
I mean, on a boat, and it really, it was
a nice crystal blue waters.
Yeah, and the shit was life changing. It was absolutely life changing.
Staff.
I need to get a picture of it blown up so that I can put it on my vision board, because I'm like, I want one of those. I remember being there one night, and I had Matt on the phone Googling, and he's like, I found one, and it's got 3 mansions, and it has its own private runway. What was it, like, was it 65 or 80 million, something like that?
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah, and I'm like, ooh, because then I'm starting thinking that's like Airbnb on the next level.
And conversation that we had previously about like sharing the island. Where people go in and they invest all this money, and then we just share the island.
Yeah.
So I mean, 65 million to 80 million.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. For me, because I look at Richard Branson, and I'm like, I guarantee you, all of the different Virgin brands, he's got executives that are able to come there and enjoy that island.
For sure.
So I'm sitting there going, okay, well, Coffee Junkies and Pizza Junkies needs to be 1,000+ stores strong, and 1,000 franchisees, and we have our own corporate private island. I mean, I share. I am a sharing guy. I've got no problem. I mean, it'll be called Julius Island. I'm not, but I will share. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever.
We're going to have that Julius money on Julius Island.
I'm all about it. And that's where I said, I need to get that on my vision board so that I can bring the mental picture to physical reality, because I don't want you guys crawling around in my brain. That might scare you. But if I physically had the island, like, you would really appreciate that.
As long as there's not like a version of Call to Prayer where you come out on your balcony and we all got to stop and like salute you so long.
No. I don't. Again, I do try and stay. I mean, I'm confident in myself and my abilities, but humble by nature. So again, because I really do encourage people that if you want a clear conscience, be transparent in your relationships and have those conversations ahead of time. I mean, you want to get kind of crude about it. I mean, like, if you know, it's like, I mean, okay, so as a guy or a girl with a guy's brain,
What up?
you're about ready to go to bed with a woman.
Okay.
You know that it's just a one night stand.
All right. We call those auditions.
Okay, cool. I mean, and it could be just that you're already like, if this is good, it's a friends with benefits thing.
Yeah.
Before you insert, be honest with her and be like, just want to be clear, like, we're not going to run off and get married. I'm not going to ask you to be my girlfriend, but we're in the heat of the moment, and this looks like this is going to be fun. So I just want to be clear up front. And if she's like, no. Okay, well, then don't do it, because all you're doing is asking for a whole bunch of drama. And if you're really going to own your shit and be a positive individual, well, you're asking for drama, and you're asking to not have a clear conscience the next day, because you know before it happens
that I'm going to ghost her.
Okay, I mean, no. I mean, because I've never used that term. I've heard it, but I've never used that terminology. But I completely, like, that's what I'm saying. Is don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there trying to unrealistically tell a guy right before you're about ready to have sex, be like, just so we're clear, I'm going to ghost you. No, but I mean, there's nothing wrong to be like.
This might explain why you are so unhappy.
What do you? I can't believe I am a happy, positive guy. Like, I wake up, and if the sun is on my face, I find something to be positive about. But the point is, everybody knows where they stand
exactly
with me.
What I meant.
But, I mean, you know, and that's not fair, because the thing is
thank you guys for this episode.
No, because you get like, okay, so I'm not gonna. If you know my history, you would probably be able to say like he has a type. But I really don't think that I have a type, because there are like examples of like strong woman, weaker or softer men, or stronger man, weaker or softer woman, or then you got power couples, and then you've just got like weak couples. Well, when I look at because I don't need somebody to be like, I'm not a half waiting for somebody to make me whole. I'm looking for somebody to actually compliment me. Yeah. Is that a strong woman? I don't know, but I know that a right woman, I'm strong enough, I could deal with a strong woman in my life. Is that a softer woman? Well, I've had a lot of those in my life. So I'm like, I don't know what the perfect is, but I don't have a type of I'm going out to look and that I'm not interested in a strong woman, or I know that I'm only looking for this. But I also know that, I mean, a lot of things in life, like if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. But I really believe that a lot of that does have to do with manifestation and thinking about what you want. And obviously it needs to be genuine, but you need to be thinking about positive things, and like attracts like. Be positive and think about positive shit, and you will attract positive back into your life. And if it's meant to be, because I mean, I've seen some women that'd be like, oh, that might be kind of interesting. I wonder what that'd be like. But I don't get all up in my feelings and like, I gotta have this. I'm like, no, take it or leave it. It's not that. I'm cool being alone. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And if it's meant to be good, well, then obviously it's going to be good, because there is a certain something about chemistry in general.
I'm offended for Zany right now.
Oh, you know what? I mean, I
hope she heard.
I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, like, because he's like, the thing is I'm not necessarily a cat person. I love animals.
What?
But can you rewind and say that one more time?
No. You got to let me finish my statement, because the thing is,
talk about the Rottweiler.
You never had the pleasure of meeting my Rottweiler. Like, Bacchus was like the shit. Like, this was the coolest dog that like. But I lost him after 8 years, and it just totally fucked me up. Mm-hmm. And the thought of trying to go get another Rottweiler, well, they would never live up to how cool this dog was. And I don't have the time and patience to be worried about taking my dog out so that he can go use the bathroom. And no, so I love animals. Cats just live longer, and they are more self-sufficient. And this in particular cat decided she was going to crawl up in my gas tank as I was packing up to drive to DC. And when I put my hand up there to pull her down, she didn't attack me. Well, I got her flea bath, and I put her on a pillow on my lap. 10-hour drive. She sat on my lap the entire way to DC. Interacted with my mother and sister's 2 cats while we were there. Again, sat on my lap on the way back from DC. Petting a cat, however you want to read into that, is actually quite therapeutic.
That's what we're calling it
And the
nowadays.
simple fact is, I end up naming the cat Zanny. She is my personal Xanax. Currently, she is the woman in my life. She sleeps with me every night. She is a purr. She is a cuddle bug, and I love
a
my
good
cat.
pussy.
Yes, she really is. She really is. But the thing that true to form when it comes to a woman that wants to mark her territory, she lives a little bit of herself virtually everywhere that she goes. I mean, like get even within a couple feet of her.
Yeah,
and
I sat on your couch, and
Uh-huh.
then I was
Xanafied.
not welcomed in my home.
Yeah.
when I got there
Because Matt happens to have a couple German shepherds that,
do not like cats.
They like knives.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, this is almost a slight version of Off the Rails.
Yeah,
'cause
we
we went
went-
down a
Right.
couple.
Like-
We left the train station a long time ago.
Long.
To cap off what your manage your relationships, people, own your shit. Because when you speak in a certain tone, when you stand in a certain demeanor, when you choose certain words, you are engaging with somebody else. There is a level of relationship, whether it is work or personal. They are all relationships. You need to own it. You need to manage it so that in the interest of transparency, that you don't end up with, oh, I didn't know it was like that. No, yeah, it was like that because you were open and honest. And you know what? That's how you look at yourself in the mirror. That's how you live with yourself. That's how you go to bed and sleep with yourself at night because you know you were open and honest about whatever it is. So you don't got to worry about anybody thinking that on the sly you were playing some bullshit.
Facts.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
What I said. All right, we are going to wrap up this episode of Q&JP, and I do want to anybody that is listening to this, I sincerely want to thank you. I very much appreciate that you are taking the time to listen to my podcast, and anybody that enjoys it, that might have gained some perspective, or I mean, hopefully it was some kind of entertaining, some type of lesson learned. But share the
Nobody
show.
listened to all of this and did not get a laugh.
Okay, and that's what I'm. So
no
I mean,
way.
if I got to laugh, you got to share the show. I mean, if you even got to giggle, I mean, like you at least got to share it to one person that you think that they deserve to hear some like little bit of craziness combined with some laughs, combined with some facts.
Or just tag Elon Musk.
Oh wow! I mean, and don't get
I
me
do
wrong.
use that hashtag.
Hey, I mean,
Go Elon.
hey. And I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. Elon. I'm gonna tell you, like, please do not offer the man the opportunity to go to space.
I'm
But
going.
I would absolutely
We can do
love.
this.
I would love to meet you. I got all kinds of respect and admiration for you, and I think that it would be super cool to interview you on the Julius
But you
Files.
cannot take
But-
that with you.
No, but please,
You have to
please don't
promise me,
offer
Elon,
Matt. I mean, that's
you will not do the podcast unless he allows you to
no.
put me in
See,
space. That's the deal.
don't pay no attention to that whatsoever.
Let me be the first obese guy in space.
No.
I will
We're
deliver
gonna.
that
Matt's
to
gonna.
you,
No,
Elon.
we're not. Okay. You guys have a good night. So until next time.